The unmistakable Karen Carpenter singing A Kind of Hush. Sadly, Karen died at just the age of 32 from heart failure caused by complications to the eating disorder anorexia nervosa, which meant the world was robbed of one of the most beautiful voices and talents. So can you imagine what she would have gone on to sing and do? And if you, like me, are a huge Carpenter fan, the closest thing to seeing the real Karen Carpenter is Narelle Bell. Narelle will be here later in the year with her 8-piece band singing the wonderful songs that the Carpenters made famous. The show's in early December. Look out for an evening celebrating Karen Carpenter, and we welcome Narelle back to Afternoons. Hello again.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for having me in, Gillian.
We just love your voice so much. You do it so well. When did you fall in love with Karen Carpenter's songs?
I grew up with Karen in the house. My mum and dad loved the Carpenters. Really young. I mean, I was singing Jambalaya and Top of the World, and then it just went from there. So definitely she was a big part of my family, the Carpenter music, which I'm sure for a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the signature songs like Close to You, they know that one straight away.
Oh, they're beautiful. And when did you find out that you could sing like her?
Well, Karen used to be asked a lot about her voice, and she always used to say the money's in the basement, and what she meant by that, it's all in her chest voice. So I have a strong chest voice, and I actually sing all the songs in the key of that she sings them in. And I just felt really comfortable singing the Carpenter music. So it sort of came sort of natural to me, just the tone of her voice and everything like that. So, but I obviously sing as myself, and I'm blessed to have that similar sort of tone.
So you grew up obviously in a musical family singing all sorts of songs from the era, but you just naturally fell into
I did.
this.
And, you know, I get asked a lot, you know, if I could do something for the rest of my career with my singing, you know, I'd be happy, as I'm standing here, hand on heart, to be just performing and singing the Carpenter music forever.
What do you think about that? I mean, I just listen to the Carpenters, and her voice and the music just makes me feel really happy. What does it do for you?
Oh, a mixture of emotions. It can be quite, you know, emotionally. You know, I do get quite emotional when I'm singing, and when I look out into the sea of people, the tears are rolling down their eyes. It's hard for me to get through a show sometimes without choking up myself, but that keeps it really organic.
Yeah,
the show's extremely organic, and I also narrate in between the songs. But I feel lots of things. I feel the lyrics. When you speak the lyrics of a song, they are quite powerful. And when you really, really listen to what Karen's singing, she's almost transferring the information of her life in some of the songs, because they're really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So
tell us a little bit more about her life.
Well, Karen, really, on the research I've done with Karen, she was a bit of a tomboy. She, you know, she wasn't a princessy type of girl. She used to like hang out with her brother a lot, and she really just loved she liked to play a little bit of sport, but she wasn't a sporty girl, really. And she really got involved. The first instrument that Karen played was the glockenspiel.
Oh, really?
I know. You don't see the old glockenspiel around much. It's a percussion instrument.
Yeah.
And she said somewhere that if she could, you know, she was asked if she wanted to sort of go out and go to the gym at all hours of the morning or get in a cold pool, she'd opt for the glockenspiel. That's how she got involved in music. But Richard was really the golden child out of the two. But Karen was a fun girl. She was actually quite quirky too, and quite funny. In some of the interviews, she's very quick-witted. So,
because we often hear, I mean, we know about the end of her life and the tragedies surrounding that. It's a dreadful illness, but you don't hear much about the sort of person she was before that. So we think of her as a tragic figure, but how do you see her as overall?
It is, you know, when you talk about Karen Carpenter, a lot of people will say, oh, the girl that had the anorexia, which is really quite sad, and I do agree with you there. There was a lot of focus on that tragedy, but Karen, of course, what resonates really with everyone is her voice. she took them to great heights. Without the two of them had to be together to be successful. But what really put them on the map was her voice, and I think it'll be it's timeless. I mean, the music is timeless, but you do think of Karen, and because anorexia wasn't something that was spoken about back then a lot, they didn't know what it was. So Karen was the first star really to have anorexia. And what she actually died of in the end was heart failure, because she was swallowing this it was called Ipicus syrup.
Ipecac. I think it makes you, you give it to babies to make them grow up.
She was actually, and what happened, it unbeknownst to her, it was shrinking her heart muscle.
Oh, gosh.
And in the end she died of heart failure.
Yeah.
Actually, she was staying over her parents' house at the time, and her mum found her. So it is, I mean, throughout the show, I don't really talk about that a great deal, but obviously I touch on it a little bit because not a lot of people know really the relationship Karen had with her mother.
What was that like?
Well, her mother really favoured Richard, and she tried really hard to get close to her mother, and sort of uncanny as it may sound, when she had the anorexia, that was the only time, sadly, that her mum gave her a little bit of attention. But she thought Karen was seeking attention by trying to lose weight. So Karen was always vying for her mother's affections, but she really didn't have that close relationship with her mother, which was really sad.
Yeah.
Because Richard was really, the main, the person that the mother favoured the most, I suppose. And I hate using the word favour, but I mean, it's quite true that he was somebody that, the mother rallied around, and Karen was just the younger sibling, and so
what that is a tragedy. We're talking to Narelle Bell on the ABC Radio Perth. I'm Jill O'Shaughnessy, and Narelle will be in town in December, but keep an eye out for tickets. An evening celebrating Karen Carpenter. So were Karen and Richard close?
They were. I mean, they were glued at the hip for quite a while there with all their music and everything, but she idolised her brother. She really did, and he was tough. They were both perfectionists, but he really, really, in relation to the music, was pretty tough.
Yeah.
And they both worked extremely hard, and I think that gruelling touring that they did also didn't help with Karen's mental state of mind. But they did actually get on extremely well. I think they had that relationship, which is good for a duo. You have to get on well. But yeah, they did. They actually they seemed to get on really well. So
tell us a little bit about how the show will work. I've heard you sing before, and even hearing the story of Karen Carpenter as well. Just I always end up, as soon as you walk into the studio, covered from head to foot in goosebumps. It's just so compelling and beautiful. How does the show work? Because obviously the music, and you tell the story as well. Yeah,
well, I get through 23 songs, so
good.
Everyone gets their money's worth, which is the most important thing. It's nice to go to a concert and hear lots of music. So there's 23 mainly of all the hits. There's highs and lows in the show, some fun songs like Postman and Jambalaya and Top of the World. So throughout, in between most of the songs, I do give a little bit of history leading into the next song. So, and also just be myself, and I like to share who I am with everyone, because I come out as myself. It's not a tribute as in me dressing up and I wear a nice dress and things like that, but I'm coming out as me. So it's a celebration of the music of the Carpenters. So, and I do give them history. But yes, there's 23 songs. So
I believe Johnny Young, you used to work with him at 6AX.
Yes.
He heard you and was completely blown away by your voice.
Yes, he's been a big support throughout the years, John. And we first started sort of working on the show together and had lots of fun. And John come out at the beginning and at the end, and he's got a big following as well, Johnny. So they love to see his smiley face coming out there. So he's been great.
Yeah,
he loves the Carpenter music as well. So,
what were you doing before you started doing the Karen Carpenter shows?
Oh look, I do other characters as well, but Karen's my favourite, of course, but Liza Minnelli and Amy Winehouse.
Yes, yeah. I love Liza Minnelli and Amy Winehouse.
And I'm working on a bit of a project at the moment with Amy. I'm doing a monologue for the Gorilla Fest next year.
Fabulous.
On the 7th and the 8th of Feb, which is a big one, 16 pages of script, talking about the life of Amy. So,
well, you'll have to come in and tell us about it.
Yeah, some Amy fans out there.
Yeah.
But, so I've been doing lots of other tribute shows and a bit of acting and stand-up comedy, which is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But so, yeah.
What made you want to do stand-up comedy? That sounds so terrifying.
Oh, I suppose I just like telling stories and I wanted to see if it worked.
Yeah.
Most of the time people laughed.
That's what all you can ask for.
But there's nowhere to run when you do stand-up comedy. There's nobody musician to hide behind, or if you got to come out strong and finish strong because no one remembers what happens in the middle.
Now, Wayne at Mindari has sent in a text and reminds us that Karen Carpenter was not only a fabulous singer, she was a great drummer.
Oh, fantastic drummer. I'm actually learning the drums because I'd like to come out and actually play one piece, a bar.
That'd be, yes.
I have a newfound respect for drummers, all the drummers out there. It's really, really tricky instrument and you've got to have that rhythm and coordination.
Yeah.
So, she was one of the best female drummer ever. If you ever get to YouTube, Karen playing the drums, it'll blow you away.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Isn't that
a
amazing?
singing drummer, she used to call herself.
Huh. Because people know her so well by her voice and the Carpenters' beautiful music. You just don't think of her, particularly as she was a delicate woman. You don't think
she was feisty on those drums. Feisty on those drums. Yeah, one of the best drummers I've ever seen.
I'm going to thank you for bringing that up, Wayne at Mindari.
Yes, Wayne, thank you.
I'm going to immediately YouTube that the second I can. Narelle, thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, ABC, for your support. I really appreciate it.
Well, we're so looking forward to the show. An evening celebrating Karen Carpenter. It's Sunday, the 1st of December at the Astor Theatre, and you can book tickets through the theatre. It'll be a very popular show, so I would get in early if you can. It's 22.